Welcome. How is everybody doing tonight or today, depending on where you live? Hello, Brick House. Audra, hello. She's a brick house. She's mighty. Da, 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 da. She's a brick. I don't care. Hello, Melinda. Enlightened, hey. Shelly B. What's up? Albany, Oregon Skywatcher. AOS. How are you, AOS? Sensible Crime. Hey. She's a brick. Now I'm like, wait. House, she's mighty. I can't. It's been so long since I've heard that song. How is everybody doing? I swear, like, I need like 50 pairs of like headphones or earbuds because every time almost I try to keep it, because if Gabriel gets a hold of anything, I love you too, Albany. Hey, Audra. Yeah, he'll most likely destroy it. Not necessarily maliciously, but but it's just so frustrating. And then it was like I was searching for my headphones. Hello, Catherine. Because some people, I don't know when they have, some people don't, because you can plug in your headphones to the microphone so you can hear yourself and hear how everything is sounding. But I just feel like if I don't have my headphones, it doesn't feel right. I don't know, because I can't hear. I need to make sure y'all can hear. Everything's good, It's good in the hood. Hey, Kaylee, how are you? It's been so long. How are you doing? Last I remember seeing you were, you had some blood work done. Is everything okay? I hope everything's okay. So I'm glad everybody's here. So we always have like so many things to talk about and not enough time, but we'll make the best. It doesn't, for me too, it's like, I have kind of an idea of what I want to discuss, but, I'm just like a free spirit and I'm just like, let's free flow, like, let's see where it goes too, so. Because I want to hear you guys and your opinions and your perspectives about things, and bring up stuff you want to talk about. Oh, whoops! I didn't mean to do that. I lost my turtle butt. I have I don't know if any of y'all have those pop-out things that you can put on the back of your phone. Oh, hello. I was thinking so. I thought you were a new kid. Welcome. I was like, I thought probably I've seen you before, probably somewhere out in the YouTube world. But welcome. But I like that pop-up thing that you can kind of put, you can kind of set your phone up, just count, you know what I mean? And then, but when you hold it, you can kind of have it positioned in your fingers just right, where, so, but some of them, you have to put it on and then it stays there, right? But then there's some that's suction based. And hey, Sulfur Music, hey, how are you? Pop sockets, like hot pockets. Okay. As you can see, I hear music. It's like music is a language for me. So I know some of you guys don't mind me randomly singing lyrics sometimes. But anyways, there's these suction ones that you can get, and like Walmart carries them, and you can move them around. But they also fall off easily. So I lost it was that looked like a turtle's rear end, and they have like a pig, and just different animals, like a whale. Oh, everything's cool. Thank you, Kaylee. Yeah, everything's good. Robbie and I were good. Like, I mean, that happens because, we had gotten really close and with our friendship and, over the past few months. And so I considered him a best friend in a lot of ways. And so, I mean, yeah, but I'm so glad that even though I was like exhausted and just like, I'm glad that we, talked about it, but that happens, and it happens. But and it's like, we're human, like I always want to try to like keep things drama free and, well, you know what I mean? And there's a difference between drama, perpetual drama, and then advocating and calling out certain people. So I don't do drama like that. We'll discuss sometimes, if there's like what happened with Mary Marlowe the other night, but yeah, I mean, it happens. It's just funny. Like, it's weird because, yeah, and I mean, it's life. Oh shit. Sorry. That's life, oh, what was that? But it's funny when, when you, I don't want to like, I never want to liken myself to like a celebrity, but you know what I mean? Like people that, even just if you're like in school and a lot of people know about your relationships or whatever, it's all about just having more people than just the two that are in the relationship that are invested in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think so. Brick house. Yeah. Yeah. And that was a strange thing. And, but yeah, I think he was a little crabby, right? Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Jelly bean. So, like I said, we're gonna continue. We were looking at the autopsy, and also if you look at the live from last night, it's 7 hours long. Okay, the actual live only lasted like 2 hours, right? Somehow, when I ended the live, I hit the end broadcast, and I turned off my microphone, and then I come back a few hours later and it's still going. I'm like, what? I was like, oh my gosh. And some people were in there like, hello? Is anybody here? So I am so sorry. I don't know what the heck happened. I guess it was a sign. It was like, well, nope, it wasn't time to turn off, but whatever. So we were looking at a video last night about the autopsies of Shanann and the girls. Because, sorry, I'm putting lotion on. And we were looking because, again, not only am I doing this for people that are kind of even new to the case in a lot of ways, because there's still a lot of people out there that don't know this case. Yeah, 7 hours. Yeah. And the funny thing is I tried to go in and edit it on YouTube just to, and they're like, sorry, it's too long to edit. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean it's too long to edit? Like, what? Hey, Kathleen, how are you doing? So anyways, I'm sure somebody's like, what the hell? It's happened. I mean, I've had some lives that have gone 5 hours, I mean, shoot. Like I said, I mean, there's just not enough hours in a day, right? To discuss things. Sorry. Whew, that's loud. It's my bang energy. So good. Ugh. I don't know if y'all ever tried it, but it's good. It's pina colada. Oh God, I think the can's gonna, I kind of accidentally dented it a little bit. It's gonna pop out in a minute. It's gonna be loud. Thank you. Yeah. Well, we didn't get I wanted to keep getting deeper, and but I think Mary, quite contrary, is going to call in, and I'm glad. Yes, and I know how it is. What? Sulfur music. So Mary Marlowe and like Armchair, especially Mary Marlowe, she keeps saying, "Oh, not an adult beverage, Melinda, not an adult beverage, but I can be K for a minute." It's like, everybody, do you have your adult beverage? I have a pina colada, because sometimes, I want a girly drink, because it's my right. It's my right, right? Right? I mean, I don't want to always have to drink whiskey. I mean, I'm sophisticated, you know it, but sometimes I want a frou-frou drink, like I want a girly sissy drink. And what? It's my right. Back off. No, I know. I just did a little Crystal and K impression, kind of. Hey, Brandy. Hey. Oh yes, I was answering that question. Where's Mike? And I'm sorry, and I don't think I shut my laundry room door there, but so they're saying that there's going to be evidence soon. Do not take their take their with a grain of salt. Okay. I mean, to my knowledge, there's, the case closed. The case is closed. It's a case. There you go. This is a case, a closed case, right? Hold on. Let me take my shirt off. I mean, I have it. I'm sorry. I have a long sleeve shirt on, and then I have my tank top underneath. Hold on. That sounded wrong. That came out wrong. Okay. Sometimes I get cold. Oh no, Mike, where are you, Mike? Where in the world is Mike Brown? Okay, so yeah, and really you would know if there was some evidence coming out. I mean, there would be some, like the case is closed, but what isn't, oh my God, that's so loud. What isn't closed is the wildfire of conspiracies, right? That need to be put out with this truth hose. Okay, we're gonna water it. Oh, she's in here. Mike's here. Y'all found each other. I love the husband-wife duo that comes in here. Y'all just round it out perfectly. Okay. It was not evidence. I said that wrong. Oh, okay, got it. Sulfur music, got it. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I think that, all of everything has pretty much been put out. Oh my God. And I do see a couple of videos that Mary uploaded that are Creative Commons that we might watch. That is so loud. Let me see. I'm looking up really quick. If there's any, let's see. And also I'd like to read something from this blog. It's True Crime Rocket, which it's weird. I think they are, the way they write is very eloquent, and they definitely are great. They are a great writer. And some of the points that they bring up are valid, but at the end of the day, what they're trying to say in the background, I don't like, and I don't think is right either. So let me see. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking it up right now, and I cannot see the chat, so I'm not. Okay, hold on. And also there is a great, let me post this I'll post this in the chat. This is, hold on. So this is a link to table of contents for the discovery. So let's see. The civil suit. I don't think so. I mean, typically those are just done. There's not really usually much. They don't do that. They may like talk about it afterwards, but I mean, I think it's just more, I think it's to stop him from profiting ever off the murders and, any restitution. I mean, he's going to barely, well, really it's like, he gets money, in commissary, all that stuff. They should I hope they take a part of it. I hope they take all of it. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't need to be, little Debbie's treats and stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hi, sweetheart. Okay. So yeah, sweetheart, what we're doing is we go back through the discovery and all of the conspiracies that like Mary Marlowe and Armchair, we're trying to debunk those as much as possible. No, Brick House, that was actually an old video. She was talking about her old job. So that was from June 22nd. So that was her job that she ended up hating a little ways down the line. Yes, Space Monster. So, yeah. No, see, like, and is that what you're getting it from? Brick House? Yeah, so it's True Crime Rocket Science, Nick Van de Leek. And, like I said, there is some points that he makes that are good, but I also think there's a bit of, I don't know, a little bit of sympathizing. Yes. Well, yeah. Well, technically, she quit, but she got in trouble because she was, when she was supposed to be working, she was making YouTube videos. So ridiculous. But she wants to be like, oh, shoot, I didn't mean to do this. I'm sorry. Hold on just a minute. Okay. So, yeah. So I want to get back on, looking at the discovery and, and also any questions or, anything that you've heard, any theories and and it also, like I say about these quote unquote psychic mediums, like it is really just disgusting to me, quite frankly. I can't. I mean, it is so obvious that, like they're, and that to me, that is like pure exploitation. Not only, I mean, in this one in particular, and I'm pretty sure that Operation Project Z was talking about this one, quote unquote psychic medium. And when I say quote unquote, I mean fake. Because he was talking about he himself, he claims to have the ability to astroplane and kind of go out of his body. And he's, Shanann has visited him, but he doesn't go around calling himself a psychic medium. And, I mean, I think, and he is calling out people that do claim and call themselves that. And his mom, she paid this one psychic and he said the psychic told her she had to see her face. So they had to do like Skype so that she could see her face. And there's a reason for that. Those are mentalist strategies. there's tails in your face, your facial expressions, and mentalists can pick it up quicker, and they're able to tell when people are lying and when they're based on their reactions, and based on asking certain things. It's all just, when it's like that is wrong, and so Audra, I remember like when I brought up the other night, I had come across that article talking about a true crime. Like it's going to be on Hulu, I believe. And they're going to take, how there's the fixer-upper shows, and then there's true crime. Well, they're planning on merging it together. Let me get that right now. Let me look that up for you guys. And it's going to be a show where they go and they basically take houses that where people have been murdered in, such as the Watts house, that are notorious, and they sage it and they cleanse it spiritually and they make it over and sell it. So let me, I'm going to share this with you. See, true crime. Yeah, there we go. Hold on. Okay. Okay. And the word, okay, let me do this. Yes, Kathleen. Right. The Skype tactic. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. My bad. Okay, let's share this. Okay. So how many of you guys like fixer-uppers? Like those shows? Well, this is called Murder House Flip. Murder House Flip. Sounds like fixer-upper for true crime fans. So, or maybe I could have sworn it was Hulu. I swear it was Hulu. I don't know. But anyways, the upcoming mobile-only streaming service, Quibi, has announced a home renovation / true crime show, Murder House Flip. Murder House Flip will help families transform dark places into healthy spaces with the help of specialists. Created by former Disney CEO Jeffrey Katzenberg and former eBay CEO Meg Whitman. It's planned to debut August 6, 2020. Since fixer-upper stars Chip and Joanna Gaines aired their last episode in April 2018, HGTV viewers have continued admiring their home renovations and secretly hoping for a new season. And while the wait for their TV network premiere seems unfathomable, hello, summer 2020, fans now have a new show to look forward to, Murder Flip House. Quibi, a mobile-only streaming service set to debut April 6, 2020, announced the new show that brings together two very popular genres of TV, home renovations and true crime. Fans of both can rest easy knowing the show is in good hands, as it's executive produced by CSI and Bones' Josh Berman and Penny Dreadful's Chris King and Catherine Ramsden. As you might have guessed, the show doesn't focus on ordinary home renovations. No, it's featuring ones known for the mysterious murders and incredible intrigue committed behind their walls, reads a press release describing the synopsis. Homeowners turn to the colorful cast of forensic specialists, spiritual healers, and high-end renovation experts to uncover the true crimes, shocking secrets, and scandalous history of their homes. Then cleansing renovations. This is kind of, it's morbid, but it's very clever. Then cleansing renovations remove the stains of the past and take these homes from morbid to marvelous. What do you think about that? What? Wait, what happened? What, brick house? Yeah, one time, like, oh gosh, like a while back, 20 years ago, where my parents lived, there was a fixer-upper, I guess, show that filmed there. We weren't a part of it, but a couple of the houses on the street were, and they had to do they did some just some like building a swing set, or I don't know. And it was all for like a renovation, like a lot of like, I don't know, $100,000 or I don't know, something like that. But it never aired. But, and it was funny because I mean, like it was like they never were there. Like I never remembered seeing them, Yeah. Yeah, right, Melinda. But, that could be a reason, I mean, and they probably wouldn't be able to say if that was or not, so it might be, it might not be. But I mean, it is a situation where, that house, I mean, a horrible, horrible crime was committed there, and I just can't even, I mean, just like the times like when Robbie would go there, there's this empty, just sad, dark feeling in that house, Hey, Robbie, that is so weird. That is so weird, Robbie. Hello, boo, Robbie Poo. Robbie, that is so weird. Like literally, I was just talking about you. Oh, and Robbie can even testify to going to the house and just the feeling of being in that presence of the house. It's just kind of, right, Robbie? Like, and like even from an out, like I haven't even been there and I can feel it. They have, okay. Yeah, like here you have to disclose if a murder has happened. Some people don't. And I think they can get in trouble, or they, but they're supposed to disclose that information because typically they could probably get it for a cheaper price, But Robbie, like, is that how, anytime that you went to the Watts home, did you? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Robbie. He's there for a split second. He's like, I'm out of here. Yeah, there's definitely just, it's this heavy feeling, when I think about it, when I picture the house and when I see it, it's just, I don't know. It's like haunting and it's horrible. I was just talking about the true crime fixer-upper show, Robbie, that's going to potentially come right here. It's called Murder. What is it called? It's called Murder. Wait, hold on. Murder House Flip. So they take houses like the Wattses and they flip it. They sage it. They get spiritual, I don't know, spiritual people. What am I trying to say? Like I'm verbally paralyzed right now. I hate when that happens. What they said it was spiritual, spiritual healers. There we go. That are going to sage out the energy. That's going to be funny. Yeah. Like Amityville. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, Audra, the strange thing is there's more than you think. I mean, almost every police officer that I've heard of people like asking if they know about the case, they're like, oh, I haven't really heard of that. So I think that, I mean, it was, worldwide and it was very much publicized and definitely in the US and around the world. Right. Sometimes Sage just can't do it. It can't do everything, right? It can't do everything. I just, yeah, like I don't think I could, I just don't think I could, knowing, like picturing what happened in there and, but it's just, but of course, the more that, that's something that keeps the conspiracies, going. Oh, maybe there's something. I mean, what would be with the house at this point? So really people need to just like separate that because like what evidence would be there, that they haven't already collected like over a year later? I don't know. But let's see, when I came to look at my house for the first time, when I went to the keys bag, I found out, oh, yeah. I mean, you pick up on these, like that energy. And I mean, it's more attention to the house. Yeah. You know, it's just, oh man. And I can't even imagine being the neighbors. Ugh. You know, just like being right there, like next door to that horror happening. And you know what I mean? Like the stuff that goes on around us that we're just ignorant, you know, about, you know, like until we're not ignorant anymore. But it's like, I can't even imagine, like, I mean, oof, it's just a mind fuck anyway that you know, yeah, it's going to be claimed. It's haunted, right? That's true. Say, Robbie. I want to say the house that Gypsy Rose, her house, where her mom, you know, where her mom was murdered. They have it as kind of a, it's a sideshow. You can go there, but you know, for me, I wouldn't mind, you know, just like I wouldn't mind going and staying at the Lizzie Borden house. And I think because Lizzie Borden, first of all, like that happened so freaking long ago, right? And yeah, it was a child or I don't know, she was an adult. Yeah, she was an adult, but still, you know, killing her father, and it's horrible. But, you know, I mean, it's been so long and it's a historic home, you know, but for some reason, you know, like the Watts' house, no, I mean, you know, there's, you know what I'm saying? The Stanley Hotel. Like, but I think it's just because it's just so like, I mean, if you look at it, it's so big and like, it's just out in the middle of nowhere. And then of course, if you watch the movie, you know, you know, oof. But that's a good movie. It's a good movie. And like I say, that movie, the premise of that movie makes more sense than Mary Marlowe's conspiracies and the way that she describes things, right? Yeah, like I've been in, like, even when I was a kid, I've been in hotels where there was one, you know, it was one of the oldest hotels, right? And in Texas, and we went there, and I just remember I could not sleep. And I was, you know, I was probably like 11 years old, and I just kept hearing things, and I just could not sleep. And even though I was in the same room as my parents, I was scared. And it turns out that it's one of the most haunted, you know, hotels. You know, so, but, and you know, I haven't heard anything so far, but sometimes you'll hear like noises, you know, when I'm doing the live stream, really. But I'll tell you, I can pick up like it, whatever it is, it's peaceful. You know, there are times when I feel, but mainly you know, lately I've been feeling peaceful, but there are times when I get this like sense of like, oh, there's something not good around, you know, like, and I don't like that feeling. It's scary. Right, Robbie? Yeah. So, but, you know, so we're going to talk about that. So I just wanted to say that could be why the house is still for sale. I mean, I don't know if anybody has done research on, you know, like what's a house that an infamous murder has occurred recently that, I mean, I would like to see like how quickly it sold, you know? You know, I don't know. That would be something to look up as well, you know? But of course you have morbid people that, you know, would buy it just because they want to have a house that somebody was murdered in. Don't know why, but you know. Okay, so I want to discuss we need to get in. We're going to play the interview, the second confession from Chris. We're going to start playing that tonight. It's 5 hours long, but we're definitely going to hit the key points of it. And I want to read some things, like I said, off of the True Crime Rocket Science, and just talk, just talk and see where it goes, right? Wait on them. Oh, really, Robbie? That's interesting. Wow. It's just, ugh. But actually, no. You know what I want to play first? This is what I've been wanting to play this since Dana Banana. She told me about it. It's so fascinating. The neuroscientist, that's a psychopath. And he found out he was a psychopath by accident, but he has a family, and let's see. It was in the 80s. What do you mean? Which? The DeFeo house? DeFeo? Let me see. Let me look this up. Hold on there. Okay. DeFeo house. Wait, hold on. DeFeo murders. Okay. Oh, it's in Amityville. Okay. Oh God. Okay. Whew. Okay. So let's look at this really quick. Okay, Robbie. Love you, boo. Love my Robbie poo. Okay. He's like a butterfly. He's gotta fly. Gonna fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit set me free. I think I got the lyrics wrong. Something like that. So this is I guess this is the Amityville. Yeah, okay. Ooh, good Lord. Okay, let's look this up. Let's look at this. The horrific true story of Ronald DeFeo Jr. and the Amityville murders. In November of 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. slayed his entire family and inspired one of the greatest horror stories of all time, the Amityville murders. Ugh, look at that house. Ugh, I just got chills looking at it. Just the mention. Oh my gosh. Good God almighty. Guys, what is happening? What is happening just now? Did you see that? I swear, tonight, it's one of those nights where it's like, I feel like I don't know. Like, that was weird. Like, before I even saw that, I was like, I looked here and I'm like, I got chills down my spine. And like it says, can send chills down your spine. After all, one of its iconic Dutch colonial houses made Time's top 10 lists of haunted places, thanks to the notorious Amityville murders. This is almost entirely due to the 1977 book and later movie franchise, The Amityville Horror. Though despite the book's claim that it recalls the true story of the hauntings within its walls, there's evidence that the residents of 112 Ocean Avenue, George and Kathy Lutz, fabricated the story that became an urban legend. What wasn't fabricated, however, were the unimaginable murders that occurred in the home before the Lutz's occupancy. In the early morning hours of November 13th, 1974, 6 members of the DeFeo family were slain in their beds with a .35 caliber rifle. 23-year-old Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr., the eldest child, confessed to murdering his entire family in cold blood. Dead were parents Louise and Ronald DeFeo Sr. and his siblings 18-year-old Dawn, 13-year-old Allison, 12-year-old Mark, and 9-year-old John Matthew. The gruesome Amityville murders were regarded as the catalyst for the spirits haunting 112 Ocean Avenue. However, some argue that the DeFeo family were also victims of the house. Oh, wow. God. Jesus. So did an evil presence already reside at the house before the Amityville murders and force a young man to kill his entire family? What we do know is that Ronald DeFeo Jr.'s childhood was monetarily very comfortable, but not content. His father was a domineering and abusive man, and his mother seemed to fade into the background under his overbearing personality. From that, Ronald DeFeo Jr. grew increasingly troubled into young adulthood. He began to rely on drugs and alcohol to cope. He lashed out physically and even threatened his father with a gun. DeFeo's parents hoped that a weekly stipend and gifts would appease their troublesome son. By age 18, Ronald technically held a job at the family-owned auto dealership, but rarely bothered to show up. So on that day in 1974, it wasn't unusual that DeFeo decided to leave work at noon out of boredom. He met with his friends at a bar, constantly calling his house to no answer and complaining about it to anyone who would listen. He eventually left. The next time anyone saw Ronnie, the entire town of Amityville would be changed forever. Oh my gosh. According to the book American Mass Murders by Valerie Plaza, DeFeo re-entered the bar around 6:30 a.m. yelling, "You gotta help me. I think my mother and father are shot." Some patrons followed him back to the house on Ocean Avenue and became witness to the horrifying scene within. All 6 bodies were found in their beds, positioned on their stomachs. The victims appeared to be shot with a high-powered rifle at around 3:15 a.m. However, there were some things that don't quite add up. There were no signs of a struggle present on the bodies or evidence that they were drugged. No neighbors were awake reporting hearing any gunshots, only the DeFeo's family dog barking into the night. Upon a police investigation, DeFeo's alibi of being at work and then the bar began to crumble. As police noted, the family had been dead before 6 a.m. DeFeo frantically changed his story, as he would several more times throughout the Amityville murders investigation. That sounds familiar. At one point, he claimed that mob hitman Luis Fellini killed his family and made DeFeo watch, but Fellini had a solid out-of-state alibi, and soon DeFeo confessed to the police what was assumed to be the truth. He murdered his family by himself. DeFeo stood trial on October 14, 1975. His attorney, William Weber, mounted an insanity plea, stating that the defendant heard voices that told him to kill his family. However, the prosecution argued that while the drug-abusing DeFeo was indeed troubled, he knew what he was doing when he committed the Amityville murders. A jury convicted him on 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced him to 6 concurrent sentences of 25 years to life. And I'm sorry, I cannot see the chat. Hopefully, I'm not sure of anyone. Oh, we're almost done, I think. In a later version of Ronald DeFeo Jr.'s changed story, he alleges that his sister Dawn killed their father, and then their distraught mother killed all the siblings. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Like Watts. In this scenario, DeFeo only killed his mother. Wow. I didn't realize how similar that, but except Chris did that in the beginning. Then, in another telling by DeFeo in 1990, he has Dawn shooting all the DeFeos before he himself kills Dawn. There are yet other theories that place a second shooter in the house. Though the stories of the Amityville house being haunted are subject to debate, there is very little doubt that Ronald DeFeo Jr. was present for the mass murder of his family in the home. But the question still lingers. Is Amityville house really haunted? Ronald DeFeo Jr.'s attorney, William Weber, was more involved in the lore than you may expect. He claims that George and Kathy Lutz, the home's next occupants for only 28 days, approached him about an idea for a book, and said, "We created this horror story over many bottles of wine. It is a hoax." Weber has since brought a lawsuit against the Lutzes for taking the story of the haunting to another publishing partner. He demanded a share of the profits of a cruel $60 million. Oh, that's exploitation. Eventually, they settled out of court for $2,500 plus $15,000 for his services connected with the book, $60 million, good God, and subsequent movie. Whether you choose to believe the Amityville house is haunted or not, some interesting information is still out there. One of their sons, Daniel Lutz's, claims Daniel Lutz claims that he was possessed by a spirit, much like Regan McNeil in The Exorcist. Their other son, Christopher, vehemently insists he did have run-ins with the paranormal, including the time he saw a presence as definite as a shadow in the shape of a man that moved toward him and then dissipated. Interestingly enough, both George and Kathy Lutz took a lie detector test about their story and passed. Wow. Hold on. Hello, Phoebe. Hold on. Well, it's just one of those things. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah, no, that is fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so anyways, that was interesting. I know about it, but I didn't know like the specifics about this case, about the Amityville. Yeah, exactly. Isn't that funny, Brandy? It's like, yeah, John Benet Ramsey, good. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, that one. I'll look at that in a minute. But yeah, isn't that funny, Brandy? It's like we all know about that, right? We've all heard of the Amityville horror story, but I didn't really know the details like that. So that's interesting. Very interesting. So I have yet to find a YouTuber who reports on the Watts case who does not criticize others. I mean, baby, like the thing is that, what are you supposed to do when, you have a situation where, Frank comes out on a news conference pleading for the conspiracies and lies to stop, right? I mean, and then you see these channels continuing and just ignoring his plea. And it's wrong. And nothing that they talk about is based on facts or evidence, period. It's all based on their imagination, right? So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to, and, like these quote unquote psychic mediums that claim to have talked with Shanann or the girls. I mean, it's like, seriously, but yet it's to fit their own narrative. It's shameful, really. It really is. It's wrong. But what I do is I go back through, because I've been following this case since the get-go. I've read the entire discovery, but that was back in November. And so there are some things that I definitely, going back over it, I'm getting re-educated about. And, and there's people that don't really know. I mean, they're just finding out about the case. So, there has to be channels that actually report on the truth and evidence, So, right, like Mary Marlowe and Mensa. And when you get into a situation where you're sympathizing with the murderer or you're victim bashing, that is not okay. That's disgusting, despicable. It's wrong. So I'm gonna put on a movie. So let me find that one about the neuroscientist. And then I need to go to the bathroom really bad, so I'm gonna put that on, and then we'll come back. But I wanted to play that just so, because a lot of people, the brain's a mysterious thing. Psychology is just even more mysterious, and it can be very subjective. And it's not an exact science. And so, just understanding why he had the capacity and what kind of person he most likely is like, probably on the psychopath spectrum. But people don't understand that just because you're a psychopath doesn't mean that you're evil or that you're a murderer. But you have certain things in your brain that make it a little bit easier to commit murder. And one of them being the limbic system. Oh, really, Melinda? Wow. I mean, that'll tell you right there. Melinda, thank you for bringing that up, because if his work truck has been sold, I mean, think about that, guys. That truck was used to transport the dead bodies, right? And regardless of if you believe, like what I believe, they were all killed at the house, right? But regardless, at least one of them, Shanann's body, she was dead in that truck. But according to Chris, he killed the girls in the truck. So regardless, I mean, that right there is like a huge crime, a huge piece of the crime scene. So if they sold that, then that just tells you right there, that the house is not being held for any reason, like for forensic evidence or anything. That's all, you know what I'm saying? And also, you guys, I potentially have an opportunity. Somebody that I know is in communication with a person that was a childhood friend of Shanann and Frankie Jr. and continued to be friends with Frankie. And so they grew up knowing Shanann. And they asked if I had any questions. And I have a million, but I'd like to get some of y'all, if y'all would leave some questions, either down, I would say probably down. I mean, you could put it in the chat, but put it in the comment section so I can try to get those answered for you. If you want to know anything about, memories or just anything that only friends would know or people that watched her grow up, then just leave that in the comments and I will ask on y'all's behalf. Right. Yeah. I mean, it was regardless, but just because, Chris with his second, and as you can see, like I just read about Robert DeFeo, his story changed all the time. And sometimes he blamed it all on one person and then another person reacted to that other person, kind of like what Chris did. And trust me, it's going to change again, like at some point. So, but, because he's a pathological liar, completely out of touch with human emotions and feelings. So, yeah, right. Oh, you saw that, Melinda? Yeah, but when AD had that quote unquote psychic medium the other day, it was like, what? Like, no, like you don't know, you haven't spoken to the girls. No, you have, like, no, that is exploitation. Okay, let me find just a minute. Oh yeah, okay, hold on. Let's do this. I might get the neuroscientist. Okay. I'll let that play and then I'll use the restroom. But this is really interesting. Let's see which one we want to play. Sorry, had to pop my nickels. Let's see, which one should we do? Let's see. I'm gonna play all of them. Let's play this one. Neuroscience, let's see. Wait, no. Inside the brain of a real psychopath. Okay. So let's watch that one. Let's see. Yeah, Brandy. Yeah, he had on The Power of You. That one. Oh my God. The one with the spider, I'm talking about, Brandy, the one with the spider leg, like fake eyelashes. This lady is getting freaking lip injections. Okay. For crying out loud, people. I mean, she literally just got herself some lip injections. You know, and she's using that. She's spending that money, which she claims she's in the business of consoling people that are just inconsolable over the loss of a loved one by claiming that she's speaking to their loved one when she really isn't. Yeah. She was on a couple of days ago, and she was like, yeah, Shanann is forgiven. And, you know, Jim did it. And, you know, like NK was there. And it's just like, what? Come on. Please, you know? Okay, I'm going to play this video. Let me stop sharing this. Like I said, I'm going to use the restroom. But like, this is this neuroscientist that found out that he is a psychopath.
If you manage a team, you have to try Monday.com. Monday.com
I will be
is a
back,
platform
guys.
to track.
Imagine discovering you had the brain of a psychopath with the potential to be a serial killer. Well, neuroscientist Professor James Fallon was analysing brain scans when he made the shocking realisation that he too was a born killer. And he joins us now live from Irvine, California. Good morning, Professor.
Good to be here, Sarah. How do you do?
Good, thank you. Good. Now, we know that psychopathy isn't all that uncommon. It affects around 1 in 100 people, but do those people really have the potential to kill?
Well, yeah, full-blown psychopath. It's about 1 to 1.5 in 100. But there are people who are borderline, and it's probably 5, 7, 8 in 100 people that are borderline. But most psychopaths do not carry out any violent acts at all. It's popular to see them, movies and in TV, et cetera, and to talk about it that way. But most of them are not violent and get you other ways.
And James, just take us through, what are the traits that define a psychopath and how are they different from, normal people?
Sure. Well, there's 2 basic traits or factors, if you will. And the first factor is one that is what's called a prosocial group of traits. Now, prosocial group of traits are the ones that are associated with being glib, superficial, very charming, but also
That's me.
the inability to get anxious. And so since psychopaths don't get anxious, they don't really look guilty. So it allows them to navigate through businesses, through the world, without ever seeming to be having done anything wrong. So there's that group of traits. And then there's a whole second factor, and that has to do with being antisocial. And that's the more dangerous one, if you will, in terms of having antisocial personality disorder, which is associated with, but also criminality. So the first one really isn't associated with criminality. The second whole factor is.
So what traits of a serial killer do you have, James?
Well, I have most all of the first group, and they are also called what's called fearless dominance. And so I am pretty fearless in terms of physically, but also in social situations. And whenever I've been stopped by the police or been caught doing something, I never look like I'm guilty at all, and I can laugh my way out of it. So that's more the first part of it. But also that first group of traits has to do with low personal or emotional empathy. And so even though I'm empathetic toward groups of people or somebody I see is sick, I understand that they need help and I'm involved in charities, but I don't have that personal emotional connectedness. And psychopaths don't have it. It's very consistent with that.
So you mimic it.
And you can see that. I'm sorry?
You mimic it. You mimic that kind of emotion.
Oh, yeah, it's very easy to mimic. Psychopaths are very good at making believe. They know what you're thinking and feeling, so they can mirror that and use that against you.
So what urges have you had to control?
What urges? Well, I get, everybody gets angry. The thing is that I can really control my anger, so you'll never know that I'm furious with you. And what I tend to do is get even months, even years later, and you won't know what happened. I try to be very specific about it. I'm not like a crazy wild man or violent. I'm not interested in that. But I'm surgical in my approach to revenge, let's say.
You should definitely join the New South Wales Labor Party.
What's that? I'm sorry.
No, worry.
It's fascinating, though, the way that you're describing this. What is it about you, though, that stops you from acting on those particular urges or that thought pattern that you have, that lack of empathy?
Right. You know, I've been analyzed by psychiatrists pretty extensively.
Sorry.
And even some of the ones I knew at
Brick House,
that are now clinical psychologists, they said you always had these urges, but you always were in control. So I don't have the urge to do those things.
What do y'all think of
be aggressive in terms of sexuality or violence? But I'm extremely competitive, and I'll try to dominate people naturally. And
he seems to be more of like a grandiose, in my opinion.
Until I found this biological evidence.
Sorry, hold on.
And from the biological evidence, I was really tested, and I had all sorts of analysis and talked to many people, and found out that I really had all these traits, and I wasn't really aware of them in the way that, you know, a psychiatrist or other people would. And so I'm extremely manipulative all the time. But I'm not trying to get money or sex or, you know, anything out of you. But I always want to dominate and control people all the time. And it doesn't matter who they are.
James, have you ever been in a situation where someone said, well, be careful of James, he's a psychopath?
Well, you know, since I've sort of outed myself, and people know, and the people close to me know that I'm dangerous in some ways in terms of making people's lives miserable. But I'm not going to attack them physically or sexually, anything like that. I just have never done that. And so ultimately, people they don't see me as being physically violent. And so they're just wary. They're, you know, people close to me, and I start playing the game with them just spontaneously. And they'll say, you're doing that thing. And they try to make light of it. And they'll just say, just be regular, just be normal. Don't do that. And so I'm people have caught on to me. But if I go out to a bar, for example, I can immediately turn the charm on, and people love to talk to me.
Definitely grandiose.
We'll spend a lot of time, and I'll create a world, if you will, which I want to bring them into. And it's just even for 5 minutes or an hour of discussion and everything, to have them buy my world. And that's how I express it.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing I'm getting older, because I really can't do much anymore. You know, I'm like 67. So
what an extraordinary thing to know about yourself, Professor James Fallon.
That I think he would.
Qualities of the mind.
He definitely would.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's been fascinating talking to you this morning.
Yeah. So let's see. And did he talk about the limbic system and everything? Hold on. Sounds like your dad. Yeah. Right. Because I was in the restroom, but did he touch on why a brain, or why psychopaths' brain are different? What does that mean? The structures that are different than normal brains. Did he talk about that? I would think so, because this was about inside the brain. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, it's all for music. I don't. She's just, I think she's okay. She's been, I don't know. She put a video out recently, and it really made me disappointed and sad. So yeah, I'm having a hard time, she's entitled to it, but I'm not okay. Hey, Cat in the Hat, welcome. Rule number 1, never trust a psychopath's definition of a psychopath. But he was researching psychopaths before he knew he was one. So can a person be a psychopath or a sociopath and zero in on one? I think that one of the traits of psychopathy or sociopathy, they tend to have, because especially with psychopathy, they don't really feel They don't have feeling like the same kind of feelings that we do, the same responses to stimuli, be it happiness, sadness, excited, disappointed. And so they kind of just go through life feeling just extremely bored and flat. And they have to do these extreme things to get any kind of like get adrenaline going, right? And this is even with, like I said, sociopathy, antisocial. But they will sometimes they will sometimes pick on one specific person and kind of torture them, like even emotionally or, but then kind of gaslight them into believing that, they'll like, maybe if the parents aren't looking and they're, being mean or like pinching them. And then they'll just be like, when the parents turn their attention back, they're like, I didn't do anything, and then the kid that's getting picked on gets in trouble, gaslighting, that stuff. Do they lack dopamine? Okay, I know he talked about it. Hold on. And let me get this other one. He kind of goes into explanation. This one, if I'm not mistaken. Let's do that. Make sure this is showing. Yeah. Okay. I think he talks a little bit more about the.
I always knew who I was. One thing is I.
Oh, and he's
sure of who
he's
I was. My identity, my sense of
related to Lizzie
self.
Borden.
Then I got a little bit of a surprise. But the first thing, it started out in a small way. I'm a white heterosexual male. My name is James Henry Fallon, and so I'm a WHM, and I'm also a Irish Sicilian American. So I'm a Wisham. Then when I was about 13, I found out that was not my real name. It was not James Henry Fallon, which I think I had made up, but James Harry Fallon. And we were not Irish at all, but we were adopted. So we were adopted. We're really English genetically, if you will. And so here's really what I am.
Oops. I gotta update every time I use a clip.
Agnostic, brought up Catholic boy.
Gotta make sure I put it.
Libertarian, New York, transplant to California, married, Angels, Ducks, Chargers fan. So I'm a Wesham, Mamaka, Buka, okay. And so, and that was fun to find out. This was it was just part of a parlor game that everybody has gone through. And and I had a pretty standard youth. I was considered myself.
Yes, Mike. Hold on.
I ended up being class clown in
right.
high school.
So hold on.
Around, I was more angel.
So that is very common, Phoebe. Getting those two, confused, mixed up, because that, if you hear like, oh, he's just a normal, you're a standard sociopath. That's actually not correct. But we kind of tend to use that to say psychopaths are like serial killers. But sociopath is part of the cluster B antisocial personality disorder, which that's what sociopath is antisocial personality disorder. And they tend to be more reckless, more, just irresponsible. They are very impulsive. They have their favorite people. When you're their favorite person, they, you feel like, so loved and, but when they don't care about you, yes, serotonin. Yes, that I think he's going to describe it. But don't they get pleasure? So, okay. Yeah. Let's see. Let me get to, I like Dr. I'm going to keep playing this and then I'm going to look up Dr. I love Dr. Todd Grande. But that's good, Mike. Yeah. So it's pleasure. It's like they need something like that to get that kind of release, something that we can get from eating like a freaking donut, or just thinking about being excited about something in the future or, but they don't feel that. So they have to do these extreme things, and it's also almost too, because they don't really have those raw organic feelings. And there's actually a video of a girl that is a sociopath and she describes, and I might play that. You know what? I may play that. Let me see. because she describes it really well. Let me get to this really quick. I think it'll be really good for you guys to hear this. Hold on. Okay, hold on. It's been a while since I've watched it. I hope I can find it. But I'm going to keep this playing and then I'll look that up.
The devil. And I also was named Catholic Boy of the Year in the capital of New York. And that, for some reason, afforded me the honor of meeting Nelson Rockefeller. I don't know what the two have to do with each other, but it was a fun thing. He didn't do that to me. He was a great guy. And I was a kid, so I did some involved with some other things too, and I was involved in a lot of extreme sports and everything, but pretty normal stuff, really regular stuff. I've been married since Nixon, and here's my wife.
Here it is, right here.
We started dating when we were 12. Our first dates. And we loved to dance together and swim. So we really got along. We became friends. We knew nothing about romance and certainly not sex. And then we were about 16. We were just wrestling downstairs, and we just started making out. It was like, oh, it was this. It was like all of a sudden the hormones hit. And so we started to go out and say, hey, I think we like each other. We really like each other.
Most of the time, psychopaths are born. But there's a factor 1, factor 2. There's a spectrum. So trauma can
is 18, and this kind of jumps up at you. I've been a professor at Irvine since 19.
Sociopaths are definitely trauma born.
So I'm kind of a potted plant there. I'm still there, but I've really had a stable family life, and I've had a very stable profession.
I'm going to play this one. This girl that is a sociopath. She talks about antisocial personality disorder and what it means to have that, right? And I think she does it. She goes into I think she explains it pretty well. Okay, just a minute. Hopefully this will kind of help, because I know it's just confusing, Oh gosh, sorry. This is good. Mm-hmm. Yep. Melinda. Hi, Fanny. It's like, honey, he's smoking pot. He's going to be a psychopath. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, yeah, I hear you, Audra. Yay, I'm glad. Is that yours? Oh, look at your beautiful kitty cat. Deceitfulness. Can y'all not? Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on, guys. Oh, no. Could y'all not hear that? I probably didn't hit the audio. I wish that they would just do that automatically. You have to click share audio. Could y'all hear that? Let me know if y'all could hear that. I can replay it. Did y'all hear it? Okay, so I didn't click. I'm going to replay it. Okay, and let me know if you don't mind. Let me know that if you can hear it.
Hey everyone, it's Iris, and I am going to talk to you about antisocial personality disorder.
Can y'all hear?
my diagnosis, along with bipolar 1 and an anxiety disorder. So there's a lot of misconceptions about antisocial personality disorder.
Oh, shoot. Hold on. That's weird. Oh, my goodness. Why can't y'all hear? I wonder. Okay. But could y'all hear it? Can y'all hear? Could y'all hear or not? Okay. I'm going to do this again. I want to make sure y'all can hear. All right, let's do this again. Here we go.
Hey everyone, it's Iris.
Give me the thumbs up.
I'm going to talk to you about antisocial personality disorder, which is my diagnosis, along with bipolar 1 and an anxiety disorder. So there's a lot of misconceptions about antisocial personality disorder, and I'm going to talk about those. I'm going to talk about the symptoms, and I'm going to talk about my personal experience with the disorder. So the symptoms, I'm also going to explain what the symptoms actually look like in real life and not just on paper. So the first symptoms is failure to conform to social norms. That sounds really vague, but in the DSM, it is very specific. And I'm going off of the DSM-5, which is typically the one that is used to diagnose these disorders, which this is in the cluster B, personality disorders, which is dramatic, emotionally unstable, etc. In that cluster, there's borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and histrionic personality disorder.
Yay. Awesome.
So failure to conform.
Let me fix this for you.
What that means is that you do illegal things that could possibly get you arrested. Now, those illegal things could range from smoking pot. I'm not kidding. That could qualify you. Smoking pot, owning illegal knives, getting into fights, stealing, and it could go as far as murder.
Wow.
So it's anything that puts you on the grounds for arrest. You do not have to be incarcerated or arrested to qualify for diagnosis. So the next one is deceitfulness, which typically is lying, manipulation for personal gain, or just because we're bored. One of the worst symptoms of antisocial personality disorder is the chronic boredom.
This one.
I could make a whole separate video about chronic boredom because it is absolutely terrible. It is not fun at all. And it's not just like, oh my God, I'm so bored. Like there's no one around. Like, oh, whatever. I'm just going to like read a book or something. It's like you're so bored that you would do anything to relieve like the tension of the boredom, which it could be self-harm. It could be engaging in illegal activities, reckless sex, reckless driving, and then it could go as far as murder. But in this video, I'm going to talk about high-functioning people with ASPD because I am a high-functioning person with ASPD. I can't speak for low-functioning people, so I'm just disclaimer. The next one is impulsivity. People with ASPD are very, very impulsive. And that usually is just explained as a failure to plan ahead. So that could range anything from impulsively engaging in self-destructive behaviors, which could be cutting, binge drinking, doing drugs, doing something completely crazy. And again, it could go as far as murder, but it usually doesn't. So it's just you're very, very, very impulsive. You don't think before you act. The next one is reckless disregard for safety of self or others. This is the one that if you search on YouTube, antisocial personality disorder, a lot of even therapists don't mention the fact that it is you have a disregard for yourself when you have ASPD. You do not care
have similar experience
about what happens to you at all.
Do you hear
and
this?
You don't care about what happens to other people.
Do you hear what she's saying?
Let's say that I was really bored one night and I was going to do something completely reckless and crazy and probably dangerous. I would not care what happened to myself or the people around me.
She says she's
So-
high functioning,
Let's say the thing was so extreme that it
She's
could possibly result in
high-functioning
death.
antisocial
care if I died.
personality disorder, not autism.
So a lot of people just completely brush over that, which it's part of the diagnostic criteria. You do have to have that reckless disregard for yourself and other people. The next one is consistent irresponsibility, which I don't really
Sounds
feel
like
I need to
Chris.
explain that
All
'cause
this
it's pretty
stuff sounds like
self-explanatory,
Chris.
But I'll just give a couple examples. It could be something as simple as never turning in your assignments
Yeah,
on time
lemonade.
for school. It could be so bad that you get fired from your job.
Does this not sound like Chris?
The next one is lack of guilt or remorse. So this one is a little tricky, and it's another one that
Interesting.
even
huh?
psychiatrists get really, really, really wrong about ASPD. So you don't, like, let's say I had an acquaintance that I said some shitty thing to, and they got really upset about it. I can acknowledge the fact that they are upset.
Like
but I don't
emotional, like cognitive empathy versus
That's what that is.
emotional empathy.
Most people with ASPD can experience cognitive empathy, which is that you understand the emotions that the other person is feeling, and you might understand why they are upset. You just don't care at all.
Yep.
So the issue with the empathy is usually it's a lack of emotional empathy. Most people that I've spoken to that have this diagnosis can kind of turn their emotional empathy on and off like a switch. So how I
Can you
view
put that-
emotional empathy
Can you
is
put
if
that in the
someone
chat?
is in
Brick House?
pain or upset, emotional empathy would be I would be able to feel the pain that that person is feeling. Cognitive empathy, I'd understand why they were feeling that, but I wouldn't feel their pain. So that is the difference, because there are
Can you put that
multiple different
link
types. There are a
in
lot
the
of types
chat,
of empathy. It's
Brick
not just a
House?
catch-all term.
Por favor.
And there are certain people that I can feel empathy for, and I can feel guilt or remorse for. That's very typical in ASPD.
Because their favorite
that
person.
They might have very, very close friends who understand their disorder and understand why they do the things that they do. And those people you don't want to fuck with. Because if you take away someone's friends and they have ASPD, the person with ASPD is not going to be very happy with you.
Doesn't
And
this
that's not a
sound
good
like,
situation to be in.
hold on.
Like, for example, I am engaged.
So like, doesn't this sound like Chris? Like if you mess with his favorite person, just like if you remember when his parents, they didn't go to the wedding, and he said, he yelled at his mom, cussed at her, and was just like, I don't need you. I'm with Shanann, and they left and moved. But like Shanann was his favorite person at that time. So NK became his favorite person. So when there was a threat to him not being able to be with his favorite person anymore, he didn't care. Right? Okay, hold on. Let me start this again. Hold on.
And I am in a very, very healthy relationship with my fiance, and she can even vouch for that. Like, if someone did anything to her, that person should run and hide. Yeah. And then the last symptom is evidence of conduct disorder. So conduct disorder is diagnosed in childhood or adolescence, and it is the precursor to antisocial personality disorder. Conduct disorder has basically the same exact
I don't know,
symptoms.
Phoebe.
You just cannot diagnose ASPD until someone turns 18. Because, you're crazy when you're a kid and a teenager. Like, you don't even have an integrated personality until you're 10. So I was not diagnosed with conduct disorder as a child, but when I spoke to my therapist about my concerns about having ASPD, there was evidence in my childhood of me having conduct disorder, so that was enough to qualify me for the diagnosis. So a lot of
Interesting.
There's a lot of confusion about the words sociopathy
There you
and
go.
psychopathy, and they are both synonyms for ASPD, but they are two very different things.
Mhm.
So sociopathy is what I have. I am a diagnosed sociopath. And what that means is that I have ASPD and I had childhood trauma. And that is probably the reason why I have ASPD and sociopathy. When you are a psychopath, typically there is no childhood trauma. You showed very, very early
thank you,
signs of
Phoebe.
no empathy and lack of guilt or remorse. And that could be,
Yes, kind of.
being a bully, making fun of peers, hurting
Yes.
animals, even as far as killing animals. So a psychopath has actually a completely different brain structure than a non-psychopath. They have a smaller amygdala, which controls your fear response and stress response. And typically they have less frontal lobe tissue. So basically their fight or flight response is not there. So a psychopath would be calm in any situation, no matter how drastic that situation is or
I
stressful.
understand, Audra.
So that
sounds
is the
like you
difference.
have a narcissist on your hands.
And like my personal experience with ASPD is that it's very different from what people think that it is. I'm not an abusive monster. I am not going to lie or manipulate you unless you give me a damn good reason to do it.
It's like a damn good reason.
Like,
yeah,
let's say
she does. It's good to see it from somebody like a person's
desperately needed money.
Sociopath's like perspective.
I would manipulate someone to get me that money so that I can survive. I personally don't really manipulate people out of boredom. I do different things when I'm bored. Some people with ASPD do. I do lie all the time, but like I don't lie to my fiance and I don't lie to my two very close friends because they, again, understand me and don't give me reasons to manipulate them or lie to them. And I'm sure some people are watching this and they're like, there's never, ever a reason to manipulate people or lie to someone. That's deceitful. That's one of the symptoms. So, and then
she does. Yeah, she does.
The last point I want to make is that we are not all abusive monsters or serial killers.
I understand your pain and
I
we're here
don't
for
like
you.
I was watching some videos on YouTube just to get an idea on how to structure this about ASPD, and they all wrote ASPD off as people being abusive monsters and people that you need to avoid. And yes, there are people with ASPD that are dangerous and will hurt you that you should avoid. Typically, those people are unaware of the fact that they have ASPD, and they are typically lower functioning.
It's 2:20.
They might be in prison.
A damn good reason.
If the person is aware that they have ASPD and you're still seeing some red flags and they're not in treatment and they're not trying to better themselves, they're not trying to make, like kind of shape their systems into things that can be healthy, run away as fast as you can because those people will hurt you. And there is kind of going to be almost a part 2 of this video about cluster B disorders and how not everyone with a cluster B disorder. So,
Soul for Music. I was talking about this in like a few live streams back about how all of us are unique, right? You know, we are all, none of us are exactly the same. And even with identical twins, you know, depending on their personal experiences, they may be predisposed identically to the same things. But, you know, that one, remember Soul for Music when I brought up that case in Antimone's Live about the triplets that were separated? And it was part of a freaking psychological, like, social experiment. They purposely did that and they kept tabs on them for years. And that was just one of the sick things. They went and took notes to see how each one were doing. And they purposely put them in certain socioeconomical situations, like rich, middle class and then poor-ish working class home to see how that affected like nurture versus nature. And, anyways, like one of them ended up killing themselves because of all of just figuring it out when they became like older and just being lied to like that. And, but the other two didn't. So, but the thing is like I said, everybody is a little bit different. Like they're unique, but there's kind of this spectrum to everything. There's really with everything in life. And you just have to, that's why they have a certain set of symptoms, because they've done enough research to show that these doesn't mean they can't have more, but at the very basic level, they have this, like at least these many symptoms, right? And so, but then you have comorbid situations where you have, like she said, she is antisocial plus bipolar and anxiety disorder. So it's just kind of, everyone's different. But so even, every psychopath is a little different, like in their own way. Yes, Melinda, exactly. The Jewish adoption. Luis, yeah, that story. It's like it's heartbreaking. I mean, that wouldn't fly in today's time, but that was happening. And they did that to a lot of multiples. And now, is it something that is interesting to I mean, yeah, we all wonder that. But that is just something that those babies didn't have a choice, and the fact that these psychologists until they were like teenagers, they went and checked on them to see if any of them, how they were doing, was one smarter than the other one, was more, and yeah, that's really interesting research, but they would go from one home to the next, and the kid would be, and the families didn't even know. That's the thing. The parents that adopted these kids did not know that they were multiples. So, yeah. And so, you know what I mean? Like that. So anyways, I kind of got off on a tangent there, but just saying that, yes, you can have, 3 or 4 different psychopaths in a room, right? And they're not going to all be exactly the same. They're going to have, of course, the brain structures that are similar, and they're going to have a lot of traits that are similar. But then they can, sorry, hold on. But that doesn't mean like one of them could be more capable of doing something above the other one. Just depending on maybe what they've gone through in life, or what that's what I'm saying. Like psychology and like mental disorders, personality disorders, the brain. I mean, it's still so mysterious, right? It's so mysterious. And so you think so? Yeah. Yeah, I watched the documentary, and let's see. So on that one, there's actually, do you have Netflix? Netflix, I think, or Hulu. They had a documentary on it. But I can definitely do a live on that, just kind of talking about it. It's very, very, very interesting. It really is. And even just the way that they found out. The only reason they found out is because, of course, back then they didn't have social media. So, yeah. Well, Melinda, I don't think that's exactly how it went down. It was only because like these triplets found each other, and then it became like a huge, like they were famous, and life was great for a while. But the only reason that they found each other out is that one of them started college. And, they were like 2 hours from home. But when he got there, this guy, everybody's like saying, hey, what's up? Like they knew him. And he's like, what's happening? This is my first day here. But he just kind of rolled with it. And then when he got to his room, like this guy came to him and he's like, he asked his name and he's like, what? No, I'm this person. They're like, what? Because they knew, because they thought that was their best friend. But they knew that they moved. They weren't going to be there that semester. So he's like, well, what are you doing back? And then he was like, oh my God, I think you have a twin. And, it went from there, snowballed from there. So yeah, I'll definitely, I could definitely do that tomorrow for tomorrow's live stream. Kind of talk about that. And more like, well, we can cover that story and others similar to it. And then also just talk about the whole nature versus nurture. And that'll be good to do. Just about like psychology and psychological disorders. So yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And I would recommend, if you do have Netflix, I want to say it was produced by Netflix, but I think I played it on Hulu. I can check right now, but I want to get the name too for you guys. And that way, you can watch it, if you want to, or you can wait and I'll play clips from it. Let's see, hold on. Let's see, trim. Okay, hold on. Trim. It's, whoopsies. Okay, yeah, it's called 3 Identical Strangers. Yeah, it's called 3 Identical Strangers. So, yeah, well, I'll plan to do that. And I'll do that in tomorrow's live. Audra, let me tell you something. That's exactly what I say. With my ex, that's exactly, and I think all of us that are victims of narcissism, narcissistic abuse, cluster B personalities, period. That's what I say. It's like, why am I the emotional whipping boy? Why do I get the worst of him? Why does everybody else get the best of him and I get the worst? Right? Yeah, I mean, exactly. I call myself like emotional. I'm like his emotional proxy. Because it's like he just has to, and he just is continuously projecting onto me, working out his shame and his guilt and his anger, but he's directing it towards me as if it's me, but it's actually, he's talking about himself, but he doesn't realize that. I mean, it's just, it's so traumatizing. And I mean, like I said, I'm in the darkest period of my life and it's just 14 years. But what really is upsetting to me, it's just trying to come to the conclusion that but I asked the same thing. I mean, I love him with all my heart. I've given so much to him, and to be the one that is treated the worst. Is that kind of how you feel, Audra? I mean, it may be you're talking about a parent, I don't know, but it's like a psychological study where they were purposely taking multiples and separating them. And then they would go until they're like 18, go and check up on them and see how they're doing, comparing. And they specifically put them in certain types of socioeconomic homes, and so they can see what is it, nature versus nurture. But this one particular was about some triplets that found out when they were like college age that they were triplets, and the parents didn't even know that adopted them. And that's just messed up. And one of them ended up killing themselves, when like later down the road. So, but yeah, I wanted to, we'll talk about that, that case, and just talk about, yes. And just, yeah, so that'll be, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Brick house. Yeah. It's like, but it's like one of these things where it's like, damn it, like, and I'm dealing with that right now. Like, I'm like, I'm still hoping that some miracle will happen, and, he's going to like, it's going to snap. He's going to, it's going to finally just like, he's going to snap out of it and be like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? I don't want to, I don't want this. I don't want to send my kids away, and make them move 5 hours away, and, instead of just get better and heal. It's very upsetting to me. But yeah, Audra, like, I know exactly how you're feeling, and it's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible. So in your case, Audra, is it a spouse? Is it a romantic partner? Uh-oh. Can y'all hear? Get used to calling you Brick House instead of Fact Base. But I know, but I don't, But I'm just like, why do I still love him? Why do I still, why? When he has put me through hell, and, but it's like, but at the same time, it's like, to try to just even imagine or think about him being with somebody else and him treating them better, like, makes me, I can't even bear that thought, I feel like I'm gonna snap. Like, like, no, I didn't get 14 years, and have children, like, but he's always been about, divorce has always been, it's just been, but the good moments are great, but I keep like, I'm like, why? Because just like you're telling me, I would say the same thing to somebody, like, you deserve better, don't let him treat you this way. Right. It's so much easier, right? I know. I can't, as much as I want to will myself to stop. I can't, I'm just like, what? And see, I know how I can be, like, in situations when I've had a heartbreak, like, with a friendship that, but that just broke my heart, and I couldn't get over it forever. And then, we ended up after 10 years, but I don't get over things like that easily when I've really given my heart and soul to something or someone. I wish I had that switch, sometimes, I sure wish I did. But overall, I love being an empath. But sometimes it is so just heartbreaking and earth shattering, and oh my God, it's horrible sometimes. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Kat, it's like, it's the death of the life that you thought you were going to have with this person, that you had been, it is a death, and it hurts like hell. But sometimes it's almost like, would death be easier? Like, and I hope that doesn't sound bad, but like, the pain that I feel, of just, the heartbreak is like, of him, like, moving on or starting another family seems horrible. Like, I don't know which is worse, right? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm sitting here wanting to fix things, wanting to heal, wanting to be my best self. And he's like, And it just I don't know, I hate it, and I hate that people that they can have such devastating control over you at certain times. Like, like Chris, killing his family, killing, his beautiful wife, Shanann, his baby, her being pregnant with his first son and their daughters, just taking their life just because he just didn't want to be with them anymore. Or somebody getting drunk and getting into a crash and killing the people, right? Or, just people at any given moment. Like, we have each other's, like, if you really think about it in that kind of a sense, even though we don't even know each other, we really have more weight than we want to acknowledge as a human race. We have this, we should be treating each other good. We should be, but we kind of forget that because even though we don't know someone, our actions can affect their life forever, good or bad, right? We need to be aware of that. I mean, I don't know. I know Brick House. It's like I wish I could discard him, but I don't know what it is, Wait, I felt like this. Soul, diversity. See, Melinda, it's like, I don't know how I can get through that. Hey, Francesca. If you're going to San Francisco. It is soul diversity. It really is. When I am doing my streams, like I don't have to think about that so much. But it just sucks. But I like being able to help other people. And even just like right now, okay, have a great day, Kaylee. Love you. I'm so glad you got to stop by. Yeah, Love Hurts. That song, Love Hurts, Love Bleeds. It's like love is such an amazing thing, but it's so earth-shattering and destructive at the same time, right? But I guess that's saying it is better to have love than loss. It is better to have love and loss than to never love at all, right? Thank you. Email. What? What? Are you still with him, Audra? And I mean, this is what's really good, is just being able to connect with people that have been in a similar situation as me. Like encouraging each other, because we can be more objective being out of it, even if we're going through this similar situation, and just comforting each other and just feeling like you're not alone, but just saying, I've been there and you're going to get through it, right? Thank you, guys. See, Melinda, I know I'm going to, right? I know I am. Like, for real. I'm sorry, but what, oh yes, that one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand, it's upsetting. It's just, I wish that the roles were reversed, because I wish that I had somebody fighting for me and wanting to be a family, and I hate it. I don't know. Well, I mean, that's kind of how my ex is. It's like, he doesn't lie. I mean, I think he'll tell white lies, but he has no problem. He does not sugarcoat things. And it's almost like the more negative the news, depending on his mood, it gave him supply in a way, I think. I mean, there were times where he was genuinely concerned, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, and I like to be as open as I can, so that, y'all feel not alone, just like you, Audra. Like, but are you with them right now? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely am going to devote, I'd like to devote like at least one night a week to having kind of like a podcast about divorce, marriage, children, love, heartbreak. And then, having you guys up, telling your story. And you can remain, anonymous but I think it's so important, because comparing notes, better understanding your situation, being inspired and feeling empowered. Okay. Yeah, I do too. And that's why I'm like, I want to share my life with somebody, but I feel so messed up right now. I feel so fucked up. I don't know if I'm ever going to be capable, but I don't technically, he moved out almost a year ago. So did he do that? Did he repeat? Did he start abusing? I don't know. I just feel like the next person is not going to be abused. And I'm not going to be able to have that. I'm going to be like, no, and I'm going to probably sabotage it. And that's not who I am. But I feel like it's going to change me into this, like, I don't know, like the side, like this anger and like resentment and just pain. I don't want to be that. I want to have some innocence left in me, and it's just, God, it sucks. It really does. But it really helps, talking to you guys and having similar situations. So Melinda, did your narc start? Did he abuse his next partner? I know. I just, I'm hoping I can somehow, but God, every single day for the past almost a year has been torture. It's been a nightmare. I swear my heart is probably aged 10 years. It's horrible. Getting to a point where, I can't sleep really. Okay, so I understand you wanting to just, I get that. Yeah, I guess right now, I think being, and it's so funny, like sometimes it's either I do it big or I don't do it at all. And I'd been wanting to start a channel for a long time. And, but it was like, well, I was like, shit, I'm going to go ahead and just start it. Like, right, smack in the middle of this whole thing. And, but in a lot of ways, it's helped me, just, get, remember, what am I trying to say? Like, there are times like where I like start panicking and stuff. Like, I don't even know who I am. Who is this person that is so like, that barely has an ounce of life force left in her. And it's just going through the motions basically every day, not living life, just being, you know what I mean? Just, oh God, it's like, I hate this, man. I hate it. But I'll tell you, having this channel has helped. I think it's been one of my saving graces, because but sometimes not just, of course, with my kids, but almost like every day I feel like a failure. It's hard for me to face that, I'm like, because I feel so helpless. I'm like, it's not fair that you have to come from a broken home, because I don't want you to, and I want to fix the brokenness, but I can't if the other part doesn't want to, and that's not fair for them. And it's like all of these, it just makes it so, I don't even know, like it just sucks, man. But I think, thank you, Brick House. But, you guys have really helped a lot. And discovering more of my self-worth and helping people and getting, start, creating a little family here. I know, I know, but I don't know, right? Yeah, I know that Live Abuse Free. Yeah, I watched that channel, but it's just one of those situations, man. Like you're just like, what the hell? Sometimes I wish that I could just have amnesia. You know what I mean? Only remember the good moments, but God damn it. I know I never watched the movie, but I don't know if y'all heard of that movie of The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And I think it has Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. And I think it's basically talking about, hey, CMY2U, License to Dance. That movie, I believe it's about basically the title, Ignorance is Bliss, right? Just, you can always be happy if you don't remember what made you sad, right? I think that's what that movie is about. But sometimes I wish that, especially because, especially the last 4 or 5 years have been some of the worst. But there was always that cycle happening and I didn't understand it. The value, devalue, discarding. And I thought, well, is this what PTSD is? But it wasn't until really recently that, I know what a narcissist is. We all have heard all the terms, but in this case, the Watts case kind of helped me too. Because when this all happened a year ago, I wanted to really understand what the hell is happening? Why is this happening? What is this called? And so yeah, it's been this kind of, I've always been into psychology and it's always fascinated me, but and I've always understood more than more than most people care to understand, just the intricacies between the type of person someone is, what happens to them, what they go through, and why they do the things they do and why they act the way they do. And so, but this is really this past year, I've really gotten even more educated on it and understanding that, wow, wow, this is how this cycle has been happening for 14 years, cognitive dissonance. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. No, I've never had cognitive dissonance. No. I know people that do. But no, I am pretty, I'm pretty steadfast in my beliefs and behaviors. And yeah, I'm not one that kind of flip-flops in 1 minute. I'm like, oh, I'm a Chris Watts sympathizer. No, I'm peace for the Rzuceks. Then, oh, maybe I am. Maybe I do understand why he did it. That kind of stuff. Or, yeah, not like that. No. No. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, maybe. So maybe actually. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and it's like, but let's see. So how did he discard you? So this is my motto. I'll tell your brother, son, etc. Don't just aim to be the best. Be better than the best in everything. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. But like Melinda, it's like, well, why is that? You know what I mean? Like, why is that? Like, I don't get it, because narcissists, I mean, and I see them on YouTube, like Critical K. I mean, a lot of them are just straight up narcissists. But it's like, but even with father, son, daughter, mother relationships, having a parent that's a narcissist or a spouse, why is it that they're like, and like, why is it that the narc's approval is so important? Why? Because we're like conditioned. Oh, I'm sorry, Audra. It took of two friends to send me to same. You mean like reading the same article? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel it's weird. It's like, even though like he's always been like, he doesn't sugarcoat, he's like, he doesn't lie really, but then sometimes I catch him in these little white lies. But, supposedly he's, never cheated, never had an affair. But the thing is that there's just something that I'm feeling that's just not quite right, And I, sometimes with your gut feeling, oh, did y'all hear that? I swear. Do y'all hear that? Push and pull, yeah. Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, they completely can just 1 minute make you feel so loved. And then all of a sudden they just flip that switch and you're just left like, just heartbroken. Like, what the hell just happened? Like, and mine would go like sometimes a whole year. He wouldn't want, didn't love me, wouldn't want to be married anymore. And it was like, oh my gosh, like, I swear, guys, like, but hopefully doing my kind of like weekly, family, marriage, personality, like mental disorder, personality disorder podcast, I will be able to kind of almost like, because maybe one day I'll write the book, you know what I mean? Because I'll tell you what, I mean, the stuff that I have been through in the past 14 years, I mean, sometimes when when I'm hearing it myself talking about it, I'm like, what the fuck? What? First of all, how, why, like that word, why, that rabbit hole, and how are you still standing? Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Very quiet, but yeah, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, true brick house. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. We're always chasing the high of love bombing they once gave us. Yeah. But it's like, what I don't understand. When I contacted him, he made me out to be crazy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the same thing too is like, my soon to be ex, it's like, I'll be trying to discuss a grievance that I have with him. And somehow he's turning it back around on me. And I'm like defending myself. I'm like, what the, wait a minute. Like, hello, stop. Oh my God. It's like so freaking frustrating. But yeah. So, and, I'll try to figure out like what day to have it on, and maybe become a little bit more like, because there's so many things I want to discuss, and I like to have it, more free flowing, and because I'm not a regimented person by any means, but I think if I have like certain days for certain topics, it would be good. And so, yeah, that's what I feel right now. It literally feels like, I've never been addicted to drugs. I've never gone through withdrawals, but I can honestly say it's like I'm going through withdrawals. Like, it's torture. And that is like a perfect way of saying it. It's, like so freaking painful. And you feel like you're dying sometimes, it's horrible. It's just, God damn it. Why does love have to be so freaking, you know what I mean, guys? It's just why I'm like, why does there have to be hurt and pain, right? Like, why can't just love be love and happy and just, I don't know. Yep, exactly. Right. Yeah. That's what I do. I'm going to say, I don't know. I'll just call you Dance. Or CM. I don't know what, like, I want to call you, like, I'll call you Dance. CMY to you. But yeah, like, I do that. Like, I'll cry just various times of the day, and that's why a lot of times, like, the bed, like, I dread. That's why I end up sleeping on the couch. When I get the kids on the bus, I don't sleep. Barely. It's just horrible. Like, I think that trust me. Oh, see my tutu. Okay. See my tutu. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Brick house, like, because trust me, like, it's a situation where, I think you really, because you love them and life is hard, marriage is hard. I don't think their marriage was any different or any like worse than anybody else's, right? This was pretty, okay, that now I see my tutu. Okay, got it. Okay, got it. I like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think their marriage was any worse than your standard marriage. I think literally, like, what she had to deal with for the couple of months leading up to her murder, I dealt with off and on for 14 years. And it literally will come out of nowhere. It'll be like 1 minute they love you, the next minute they emotionally detach from you. Sorry, it's so I really don't think it was as much. She was like, when you think of like the Kennedys, Jackie, Onassis and John F. Kennedy, That was, to me, that's the facade. That is putting on a face of, oh, we're, just a happy couple with 2 beautiful children. The wife is so smart and beautiful. And the man is so, appealing, at president of the United States, but behind the scenes, there really wasn't a marriage, affair after affair happening, just ridiculousness. That is a show. That is that's not what was happening with Shanann at all. Oh yeah, the rages. Yeah, the rages. Yeah, a lot. Most of my possessions have been destroyed because of those. Yeah, it's horrible. But yeah, I think that, when people are saying that Shanann was trying to paint this, no, I literally feel like things were overall pretty okay. She was probably a little bit more domineering and he was a man baby. And, but overall, I think that they had pretty good times. They had their moments, but, Brick House, and that's something where, but the thing though is if you listen to Frank and Sandy, they lived with Chris and Shanann for 16 months? They lived in their house in Colorado for 16 months, 24/7. Okay. For 16 months. They saw the most, and almost apart from being in the bed with them, they pretty much saw and heard everything. And for them, when they got interviewed by the cops, by the agents, they were, except for what they saw when the past 6 weeks, right, leading up to the murders, they were like, up until then, we're not going to lie. he was overall, they were happy. He was a good husband, good father. And so if that was the case, because she was extremely close to her parents, talked to them every day. She was close to her friends. She was a social butterfly. If you saw all the text messages, they knew everything. She even talked about when she was going to go masturbate. Okay. Because he wasn't giving her any affection. So they would know more than we would know if that was just a fake situation. All of them testify that pretty much they thought they were happy and in love. Everything pointed to that. There's nothing to say that. What are you talking about? You mean her parents? Okay, so they came basically after, CeCe was born. Shanann was sick, and then she ended up having that neck surgery. But, she had the girls, 14 months apart? And so that was hard on her with her lupus and everything. And also, they wanted to be there. They lived all the way in North Carolina, and they were in Colorado. They wanted to be a part of their grandbabies' lives, That's really why. They wanted to be there and they would have stayed longer. Frank was the one that just couldn't get enough of his, daughter and grandchildren. And Sandy did too. But, they were there because they wanted to get to know their grandchildren and be a part of their lives. So, and, to help Shanann when she needed it. So I think it was amazing for them to do. But if they sit here and say that there was no clue. Usually when a marriage is that unhappy, if it's that dysfunctional and unhappy, Robbie's like, what? Masturbate? What? I'm there. Ooh. Of course you would come in, right? You're so funny, Robbie. But that's one thing I would have to put out there. It's with that whole theory that, oh, they were faking it to make it, or they were trying, because that was a part, yes, Audra, yeah, I'll put my email. That was a part of doing Lavelle. If what I've heard is that they had to devote 80% of their social media. There's my email to advertising Lavelle. Showing their family, their lives, being walking, living, breathing examples of the products. And so that was part of it. So that she had to make the videos. It wasn't because she just wanted to make the videos so that she thought she was keeping up with the Joneses and then some, right? It was that was part of selling Lavelle and being at the level that she was at. That was part of it. She had to devote a lot of her social media. So, I mean, the thing is Chris was very quiet. See, like Robbie, and see, I'm like, I didn't get my free, and I wanted to take it with you. Hopefully it got here, because I'm like, I just want to try it so bad. And I'm like, the fact that you are loving it, because I'm like, first of all, I need to get on like something that, because I'm like, between the stress, I don't eat well. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like fit, I do not feel like what I should feel younger than I feel right now. I mean, mentally I feel young, but like physically, and I'm like, this is horrible, No, I mean, no, that I don't agree with you, but now I was about to be, because I know you're fact-based, I was going to say fact house. No, I think that's a narrative that people are putting out there, but that was not necessarily what was happening, because Shanann was very real. Like, you can see her text conversations with her friends, and she told them the good, the bad, the ugly. She wasn't sitting here like holding back the secret, because if that was the case, Brickhouse, then they wouldn't know all the details that they knew. I mean, she literally, like I said, down to the detail of, oh, I think I'm going to go masturbate. Like, they knew everything. So if that was her main objective, was to portray this perfect life, then she wouldn't be open and frank with people like that. She would be like that way to everybody. She'd be like, oh, everything's fine. Everything's amazing. Everything's perfect. I don't have feelings, just we're so happy. That's not what was happening. And again, we have to look at the evidence. We have to look at the discovery. We cannot go off of what we think in our heads may have been happening. All of the evidence points to, with testimonies and even her text conversations, emails with friends and family, she was very open and like an open book. Like, this is my life. She even went on her live streams and talked about how horrible her first half of her life was with, before she got diagnosed, her first marriage failed. I mean, she was very open. She was very open, and she wanted to help people. But that meant that she had to tell about her struggles and her strives. But she genuinely felt in those posts, like that one video where she said Chris was the best thing that ever happened. She was genuinely happy. She was genuinely in a great place. And the evidence proves that. Nothing else points to unless you can show me something that proves otherwise. All the evidence proves that she was not faking it or trying to make her life seem perfect at all. Okay, Robbie. Yeah, I already placed my order and got my home. What? I need that, Robbie. Is it expensive though? Like, see, that's what and I need, because it's like vitamins, right? I mean, yes, brick house, we can. And that's the great thing. We're respectful, but you know, for me, it's like, yes, she was authentic, very real. And for me, I have to go based on the evidence and what she showed and how she was and what her text messages showed. You know, you can't say that she was trying to portray. Now, when you're doing a live stream and you're talking about the product that you're selling, I mean, of course, I mean, but even at that, I felt like she was pretty real, you know? But of course, you're going to, you know, like show a happy scene, but that was really what was happening. But there's no evidence to prove otherwise, you know? And you have to go off of evidence. You have to go off facts. You can't, that's where you start going into like the subjective, like, you know, theory, like, you know, just based off of what ifs, speculation. And it's like, there's enough evidence in this case to not speculate about those things. But then if you get to be, okay. Well, Robbie, I mean, you may just be my Thrive person, you know? That'd be awesome. And then, I mean, I would love to sell it, you know, and even if you could just get your product for free, for crying out loud, you know? But if it's really that great, okay, 2 pills when you wake up, then you do the shake, and then you slap on the patch for 24 hours. Wow. Yeah, exactly. I mean, because like I need that energy. Does it help you focus too? Does it help all of that? Do you mean Cat and Hat? Do you have Thrive too? See my tutu. Exactly. Because I know exactly, and you do too. You know exactly what she was going through. I know exactly how she was feeling. No, they didn't have a perfect marriage. There's no marriage that's perfect, Brick. There's no marriage that's perfect out there. Marriage is fucking hard. It is one of the hardest things that one can do. Well, 2, because it's 2 people, 2 different people doing one life together. 2 different people doing one life together. Okay? Life is hard enough. Life is fucking hard. And then you're going to try to do it with another person. And then on top of that, you're going to have to deal with the feelings and emotions of this person and what the hurt they do to you or whatever, you know? And it's just this, it's hard. So no marriage is perfect. You know, every marriage is fucked up in some way. Yes, exactly, Cat and Hat. Well, I'll do it, and then maybe you can try it under me. I know. I mean, Brick, I know, like, and me too. Yeah. And see now, you know, and like this was part of it too. Robbie can testify that he's taking Thrive right now. And he himself, when he would hear her talk about Thrive, he'd be like, oh, bitch, please. Okay, get a grip, right? Go take your Pure and get over it, right? But he can testify that it really makes you feel amazing. And you really want to get on the rooftop, literally, probably sometimes, probably have the energy to, and just scream it out like, everybody, this is amazing. You know, and you can be so passionate about it. I can already see Robbie being so passionate about it. Look at those exclamation points. I mean, he sold me already, you know, and she's like, that's what it's about. And that's what she was showing. She genuinely was happy and healthy. I mean, she was able to get pregnant just like that when before she had to actually take some medication that stimulated her ovaries to produce follicles. So it really potentially is a really great product. And when you feel that way, you're going to get on your lives and you're going to be like, this is great, guys. Like, I love it. Like, you know, but see, you weren't married to a psychopath. You were not married to a cluster. Well, maybe you were, but you weren't married to a Chris that it took next to nothing. All it took for him to get another favorite person once he got that favorite person, he was done. He discarded Shanann and the babies. He didn't have that emotional connection, that organic emotional connection. He definitely is on the spectrum of psychopathy. So that's different, you know? Oh my gosh. Helps my sex drive. It helps everything. Wow. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Cat in a hat. That's a perfect way of saying it. Two imperfect people vowing to stay together for life, you know? And I mean, I myself, I'm built to make it last. I take my vows seriously, but so many people are just, they're like, burn the boats. I mean, they're not, I'm like, burn the boats, but they're like, no, we got to hold on to those boats. We got to have a plan B. We got to have a plan B, you know, like if things start to go just a little bit, you know, cockeyed and I don't like the feeling, it's like, I'm done. Like, get in that boat and I'm sailing away, you know, on to the next, you know, patch of land to discover, right? Oh my God. Brick house. Oh my God. Is it because of your ex that your son is dead? I'm so sorry. Is it because of your ex? And that's what I'm saying. It's like people have, I mean, especially our loved ones, they have a part of our heart and you know, you put a lot of faith in them and then they have the capacity to just take it away, you know? Yeah. I mean, Shanann was in that discard and it breaks my heart, you know? But she was still trying to help people. But I'm trying to see, like, Brick House, like, I am so sorry that, you know, you went through that. And it's so good that you're able to share your experience, you know, like I was saying. And I definitely am going to have at least one night, you know, to devote to talking about, you know, life, divorce, love, heartbreak, death, just everything in between, and being kind of a support for each other. Because the more that we can educate ourselves and the more that we can help each other watch for these red flags, the more armed we are, you know, to survive this life and to ultimately protect ourselves and our children. And, you know, so, and of course, I mean, with the, I don't know what to call it yet, but like, with the podcast I'll do, it's like, of course we can talk about, you know, cases like the Wattses, and because that's, you know, like part of it, you know, that's the worst that can come out of being married and, you know, putting your trust into somebody and then they just, you know, they take your life away. So yeah, but I'm just trying to see, like, Brick, I'm like, was it because that of your ex, that your son, you know, it's just horrible. I mean, why does life have to be so hard sometimes, you know? Like, so, I don't, you know, like, I just hate that. Oh my God, I just hate it. And I hate seeing people with broken hearts and devastation, and it just sucks. Yes, sending prayers and love. And we're here for you, you know, and I'm sure, like, yeah, Melinda. Exactly. Right. She had that gut feeling. She was scared, you know. She knew that something was going to happen. Maybe not specifically, but she just knew, because she didn't know him anymore. And it was just, it sucks because, oh God, it's just, It's just not okay. Not okay, man. And that's why when people sit here and freaking sympathize with him on any degree, I can't. I'm just like, I can't. Exactly, say Robbie. I love your, your optimism about that. And, we discussed about that. Like, hell, I've always, even when I was young, I was like, hell is probably Earth, it is life, because life can be hell. Life can be a nightmare. Life can be just excruciatingly heartbreaking and painful and just, and it's like, you would think that at the end of it, like we graduate to a little bit better, but like heaven and, yeah. I mean, Melinda, like, I think that week that he was there, because Shanann, even though she talked to her friends about everything, she, while she was there, she didn't try to like bother her family with the heartbreak that she was feeling, right? Hey, Keisha girl, what's up? Yeah, we were just talking about that. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I think that they were just kind of a little perplexed, like, wow, because usually we see him like helping her if she didn't feel good. But I mean, even Chris himself, he said in the second, which we will play next time, he said that he's like, I didn't think, he's like, I don't think I'm like a completely heartless person, cold, heartless person, but I just process feelings differently than others. So he's basically saying he's just, basically a psychopath. But she was fighting for her marriage. She was fighting for her marriage, like and I know she was doing exactly, and she was trying to, because, Chris kept a lot of things bottled up. He didn't, just, again, it's just like, they just kind of go through the motions, but they don't really feel the emotions. They know what needs to be done, X, Y, and Z. They do it. Is there a lot of emotion behind it? No. And, a lot of times they just don't say anything. My ex is a lot like that. Not really talkative, very stoic, just hard to read, keeps a lot in. And so you don't really know that anything's wrong until they erupt like a volcano. You think everything's okay. And I know, like, and then all of a sudden they're like, but you won't let me hang a thing on the wall. You won't let me hang artwork like I want to on the wall. Just little stupid things like that are easily fixed. But it's like, then why didn't you say that? Like, why did you keep it bottled up? Because they don't know how to process things. It's like a light switch for them. They either feel it or they don't. It's like, and they choose to not feel it most of the time. I don't know. Like, see, I'm in the discard process now. Yeah, I know. I feel you, Audra. Same here. Yeah, I mean, things really did happen just like bam, 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 And other than that, I mean, there wasn't any, like she said, before she left for, it's just revving up all of a sudden. Yeah, what the heck? Just like Shanann had said, that she said to Chris that before she left for North Carolina, they couldn't keep his hands off of each other, couldn't keep his hands off of her. And then he's all of a sudden like, won't touch her, won't give her a kiss. I mean, it wasn't this thing where she had time to be like, well, I think my marriage is disintegrating, but I'm going to put on this happy face and everything's good. That's not what was happening. Not at all. At least what the evidence and facts show, and what people that knew her and knew Chris and literally lived with them, for an extended period of time, 24/7, saw and knew about their marriage. There was, they weren't like, well, to be honest, it was on the decline for quite a while. No, they were like, we're just as shocked as anybody else. I mean, Shanann really, truly thought that they were happy. Yeah, right? Fellow insomniac. Yes, of course. He's my boo. He's my Robbie Poo. I love my Robbie Poo. I love him. But that's, that just shows, like, 'cause I consider him a best friend. Yeah. Mine 14 years versus 7 weeks, but still, it doesn't matter if it's 7 weeks or 7 years. The pain is just ridiculous. Neri, I can't talk. Could you call in and talk about your experience with that? Would you like to, can you do that right now? I can put the link in the, because you were going to talk about that. I'll put the link in the description. If you don't feel like it tonight, that's fine. We can do it another night. But I know you said you were going to talk about your experience with being strangled multiple times. Yeah. And to think that's a form of abuse that happens, that these people will get strangled to the point of unconsciousness and then wake up and be like, what the hell just happened? Yeah, I don't know, Brick House. I hope that you will. I'm really worried. I'm so sorry about the, death of your son. And we're here for you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The thing is, it's people like Chris or my ex or a lot of people like them, they wear the mask and they keep so much to themselves and inside that, it's just all of a sudden they just 1 minute everything's good and next minute they can't be with you anymore, and it makes no sense. Yeah, I'm not, Neri, I'm thinking that I've been on for over 2.5 hours now. I may have you on, and I want to definitely make sure that unless you can come on, but I definitely want, I'd like to actually have that live more dedicated to that kind of situation, abuse and talking about that, I think. And we can just we'll schedule a night this week and then I can kind of have it scheduled and everybody will know that we'll do it on that night and we'll talk about your experience with being strangled multiple times and abused and the signs to look out for and just everything. Is that okay? When I saw the other side of him. Yeah. But looking back, there were little hints here and there. There were these little hints that didn't seem so bad at the time. But now I'm like, yeah, those were these little red flags. But mine, it started because we got married just under 7 months of being together, madly in love. Already had Ethan, my oldest. He was 2 years old. And then I got pregnant with Gabriel. And then my husband deployed like a few months later, right? So that's the first time. I mean, I'm pregnant. That's the first time I've ever dealt with a deployment. I mean, I cried every day, all day for like a month straight. And everything was fine for a few months. But the more I see with them, out of sight is out of mind. And Chris was like that. And he made comments about how like he didn't really stay at the house, so he didn't have to look at the pictures. And so he kind of forgot. I mean, they need that tangible reminder. And my husband, same way, like, I mean, he would say things like in the beginning of our relationship, I lived an hour away from him. And so we would mainly see each other on the weekends. And so we would go the whole week without seeing each other. We would talk all the time. But then sometimes when we would meet, like one time I remember we met up downtown at a club and he's like, gosh, I don't realize how much I miss you until I see you again, you know? And so those things, that's what it's about. That is the capacity of just being so emotionally detached, needing that physical, tangible reminder. But if things are going a little bit wrong, that is all they have in that moment, right? Because they literally need that constant gauge that things are going to be fine, that everything's okay. And if things go wrong, then they want to just jump ship. They want to be like, okay, I'm done. I can't deal with that. Like, what is this? Because it's like, okay, I don't understand this. I'm not feeling it. Nope, I'm not dealing with that. Even though they're part of the reason that things are getting bad, right? But maybe it's part of the reason why, if the relationship is a little bit off for a moment, that's what they're basing everything on in that moment. And then all of a sudden, oh, we're growing apart. We're not compatible anymore. Because that's what I experienced. Like all of a sudden, it's like, what? And that would make so much sense if they're that detached from human emotion and feeling so much, that if things were a little bit bad, just like the relationship was hitting some bumpy spots or something, that they were like, oh, nope, cut and sling load. Nope, we're not compatible. Don't know what this is. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Yeah. Oh, see, there you go. Right. Exactly. Like he would say, like, he doesn't remember when he was deployed and stuff, he would start not remembering what I look like, And so like these are things, guys, that are potential red flags for definitely a cluster B, but possibly a psychopath, that literally any amount of time. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people are like, well, the absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? No, not with my husband or my ex. Like, that doesn't make the heart grow fonder. That makes the heart grow more distant. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of all this anxiety and like panic, is like, we're going to be 5 hours away and he's just going to, because he's the type of person, well, he's like, well, it is what it is. Got to suck it up, buttercup, and move on, instead of actually fix what's broken, right? It's like, well, oh, well, we'll just have to deal with that, like what? But, and he'll just deal with it. And he'll just like, I'm just afraid he's going to just move, start a new life and like become he's already so detached emotionally to me and the kids. I mean, yeah, he'll come over. But the minute and he's usually the instigator, but the minute things go if I get a little sad or fill up with anxiety, he's out, he's gone, he's like, oh, I'm going back to my place, but I'm like, he's so much more detached right now, and it breaks my heart. And it's not fair on the kids, but I'm like, what is it going to be like when we're 5 hours away, but these are things that we can just further discuss in detail. And let me know some ideas too. I'm all about feedback. I'm never going to be like where I have like this, you're going to have an upload Mondays or at 9:00 or, but most nights I will live stream. But I would like to I'd like to have some of your guys' feedback and kind of what you'd maybe like to see in terms of kind of like, because I know, say, Robbie is doing a social anxiety thing and it's important. I want to know, like, what would you guys like to see? Certain, like discussing certain things on certain days. It's always going to be like I said, it's never going to be like strict, like, nope, we cannot talk about anything else but this. But I would like to have a little bit more of a direction. And that way you guys will know, because you can't always be here for everything, which I'm always glad when you hang out. It means a lot to me. But there may be times where, you can only devote so much time and you want to devote it to a certain topic that week. And, but how would you like to see give me some like ideas for like some formats, in the comments, or email it to me. Social, yeah, definitely. Robbie, and maybe I can collab with him. He's doing some social anxiety. I have social anxiety. I've become more agoraphobic the more trauma I deal with. But yeah, I guess, it's like you can tie everything into everything, right? Like murder cases can tie into mental disorders, that can tie into marriages, that can tie into, but, and we most likely will talk about a whole bunch of things, but having more of like a focal point. I still am going to continue on with, going through the discovery with the Watts case, but as long as these freaking conspiracies stay like rampant, like wildfire. See, I grew up an Army brat, so when I hear you mention, yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. It's, Geisha girl, and it's interesting and that's another thing. I'd love to have you on to talk about. I'd like to do one of my podcasts. I want to discuss military life, and what it does to marriages and children and how that impacts. Jesus, the man I married is not I know he's in there, but he's not the same. He's been deployed 3 times. The first, he was deployed. When he came back, we started talking and dating. But then the next 2 deployments I was pregnant, and each time he came back different. And this is a combination of PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and what that does, that changes. Like traumatic brain injury can incapacitate people, make them so aggressive, and that's what's been happening. And that's what I think makes it so much harder for me, is because I know that this is not solely my husband, like, or I don't even know what to call him, but it's like that it's partly, a lot of it has to do with him fighting for our country. But yes, was he most likely a cluster B? Yeah. But he definitely, the aggression and everything is, I 100% believe it's tied to the traumatic brain injury. And it's hard because it's like, I know that. And he just sucks. But I still can hold on to the hope for miracles, right? But yeah, well, thank you guys for joining. I think I'm gonna leave it on this. I always have so much fun with you guys. It's just like, it's just shy of like 3 hours. And I'm like, it doesn't feel like 3 hours. It's so weird. Like, I swear, live streams, like, they just like, time is like, it's so different when you do live streams. Time is like, it's like crazy. I don't know if y'all experience that, but 1 minute it's like, 1 minute it's like 12 o'clock and the next minute it's 6 in the morning. You're like, what the hell? There you go. That's a good one. Life, love, and psychopaths. I love that. I like that. Hold on. I'm going to take out. That's a good one. Yeah. Life. Yeah. Yeah. Making lemonade, life, love, and psychopaths, or making life, love, and psychopaths lemonade. I don't know. Hey, Rain Dancer. That's a good one, though. I'm going to take a little screenshot of that. I like to have those kind of like clever, little things. Oh, I know. I was like, I was wondering where you were. I was like, where are you? Yeah, we started a little earlier. And I'm gonna try to start as early as I can. But but yes, I think I'm gonna call it a night. We had a really interesting yeah, Mensa makes me nauseous too. She's vile and disgusting. Thank you, KS Sunflower. Hey, I'm glad you were here. Thank you. Yeah. So, but y'all definitely, like Rain Dancer, like watch the beginning. I played some videos that really help and help people understand the difference between sociopaths and psychopaths, because one of them is an actual sociopath and explains. So, and it's all vital in understanding these true crime cases and understanding our own lives, right? But yeah, but we're a family, the Lemonade family here. Everybody's welcome as long as you're kind and respectful, right? Yeah, she is horrible, and she continues on. And how people can still somehow, I'm like, no, and that's why I do this too. I'm like, I'll be damned. I'll be like, no, I'm keeping Shanann's legacy and memories alive and well with the babies. I'm going to celebrate their lives. I'm going to make sure the freaking piece of shit that Chris is, that he gets all the fucking blame, not 1 ounce of sympathy or anything. Thank you, Cat in a Hat. Good night, everybody. And we'll be back here tomorrow night. And I thank you all that stayed and hung out with me the whole time. It means so much to me. Thank you to my mods. I love you all. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, or talking to you guys, and just, spread peace and love, but always stand up to bullies. Okay. Always. Love you guys. Okay. Mwah.